It is the start of a new year. Like, literally, this video is going live on January 1st, 2020. But a new year means a new batch of comic book movies to go see in the theaters. And that also means that I get to do a video going over all of them. Now, I've done videos like this the past few years, and I like doing them. For one thing, they're pretty quick and easy to do. But also, I think they're a good resource to have on hand. They're sort of a good, quick guide highlighting what to expect from superhero cinema in the coming 12 months. And also, maybe you can figure out what you want to go see and what maybe you should avoid. Even though my opinions are always apparently wrong. But something feels different about this year in particular. Honestly, to me, the lineup feels kind of light. By my count, we're only getting about 11 films, and that is if you stretch the definition of comic book movie. And even then, we're not getting any tangentially related films like Glass or The Incredibles. These are all films that are actually based on comic book properties. Also, on the previous lists, a lot of those films would often get delayed into the next year. So it's very possible that the same thing could happen again in this year, and that this list could wind up being much smaller. But despite running the risk of being grossly out of date real soon, I'm gonna push forward and do this video anyway. Why? Well, like I said, it's quick and easy to do. This is a list of all the comic book movies you can expect from 2020. So to be clear, we're only talking about movies that are getting a theatrical release. We're not talking about the direct-to-video DC animated movies that come out this year, nor are we counting any of the Marvel TV shows coming to Disney+. You actually have to go to the movie theaters to see the movies I'm going to be talking about today. Regardless, things don't officially kick off until February with the release of Birds of Prey on February 7th. Sorry. Birds of Prey and the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn. That title is seriously a mouthful. This is a really unique film, especially amongst this lineup. It serves as both a follow-up to Suicide Squad, showing Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn as she tries to distance herself from the Joker, while also serving as its own thing, having Harley team up with a ragtag group of women to try and save a young girl from Black Mask, played by Ewan McGregor. Now, I have my misgivings about this particular project. I was all on board with it in the beginning, but between sticking with a really unappealing visual aesthetic that looks a lot like Suicide Squad, and because the heroes and the comic book characters don't seem to be wearing any sort of recognizable iconic costumes, I just kind of started to lose interest in it. It just doesn't seem like a movie for me. And that's okay, not every movie needs to be made specifically for me. I just thought it would have been cool if it did go in that direction. I'm still willing to give Birds of Prey a shot. It does look fun and unique, but if Ewan McGregor doesn't wear a black mask in this movie, even though he's playing Black Mask, then I'm gonna be mad about it for years. Next, we have Bloodshot on March 13th. This will be the first film in the much hyped Valiant cinematic universe. Vin Diesel plays Bloodshot, a former Marine brought back from the dead thanks to nanotechnology. He performs Black Ops missions despite having no memory of his past life. But when his memories start to come back, he begins to get caught up in a vast conspiracy that goes deeper than he originally thought. Bloodshot looks more like a sci-fi action movie than it does a standard superhero film, but that's okay. After years of Marvel setting the standard for this genre and DC trying to carve out their own little niche, it'll be nice to see what another publisher can do in this space. Like I mentioned earlier, Bloodshot is being positioned as the first entry in the Valiant cinematic universe. Much like Marvel did with Iron Man, Valiant is starting small before expanding and getting bigger until they can eventually do their own big-ass crossover events. Only time will tell, however, if this is going to be the next Iron Man or the next Tom Cruise The Mummy. After Bloodshot, the next comic book movie is going to be on April 3rd, and it will be The New Mutants. For real this time. No, seriously. Though probably not, let's be honest. Okay, so for those of you who don't already know, The New Mutants was going to be the next chapter in the Fox X-Men series of movies. It was going to be about 5 kids who discovered that they have mutant powers and coming to terms with these new powers while being locked up in an asylum against their will. It looked to be more of a horror-focused take on the series, really leaning in to the haunted asylum trope. Every year I've done this list, New Mutants has been on it, and every year it's gotten delayed into the next year. It's honestly a miracle that it hasn't been canceled yet. It'd be a miracle if it went straight to Hulu or something, let alone get a theatrical release. Now, rumor has it that director Josh Boone has finally gotten creative control back of this movie. And not only that, but his new corporate overlords at Disney and Marvel have officially signed off on his particular vision. So, allegedly this movie will come out in April, and we might actually get a brand new trailer for it this month. That's exciting, but I don't know. I'll believe it when I see it, I guess. I mean, fool me once, right? Next on May 1st, however, is a movie that I know will be coming out, Black Widow, the long-awaited solo outing for Scarlett Johansson's Avenger. This movie is set to explore Black Widow's mysterious past, from her time in the Red Room to whatever the hell happened in Budapest. Florence Pugh stars as Yelena Belova, the blonde Black Widow from the comics. David Harbour is Red Guardian, and Rachel Weisz is Melina Vostokov, another Black Widow. Although in the comics, she's known as the Iron Maiden. It's a shame that this movie is coming out now after the character's death in Avengers Endgame, but it's still nice to see. The movie gives off a Jason Bourne with superheroes vibe to it, and that sounds like a winning combination in my book. Just remember that this movie takes place after Captain America Civil War, but before Avengers Infinity War. That's why Black Widow is still alive. You're probably gonna have to explain this a lot before the movie comes out, so I recommend making like business cards or something that say that on it to hand out to people when they ask. And then on July 5th, we get Wonder Woman 1984. Now, I already did a whole video explaining why I'm super excited for this movie. So you can click the I over here if you haven't seen that already. If you have seen it already, then you pretty much know what I'm about to say next. Now, after Wonder Woman, we sort of enter into this uncharted territory, so to speak. All of these films that I'm about to mention are in various stages of either just wrapping production or somewhere in a weird post-production limbo. And aside from one of them, none of these movies have trailers, so who knows what they're gonna turn out to be like. And here we start with Morbius, the next entry into the Sony Spider-Verse of films scheduled for release on July 31st. Morbius the Living Vampire started life as a Spider-Man villain before spinning off into his own thing, becoming a grimdark anti-hero. Kinda like Venom. And also like Venom, because Morbius is technically a Spider-Man character, that means Sony is allowed to make movies out of him. So they're gonna use that license to the fullest and make a movie about Morbius. And it's going to star Jared Leto of all people. I don't know anybody who's even remotely excited for a Morbius movie. Okay, that's not entirely true. I know one guy. This guy specifically. It's just that Morbius isn't really a character that has anywhere near the same kind of cultural cachet as Venom does. Nobody gets excited to see Morbius on his own. If he shows up in someone else's title, then you're like, oh cool, Morbius is here. But on his own, it just doesn't really drum up the same sort of enthusiasm. Kind of like Gambit in a way. I hope I'm wrong. Mostly for my friend's sake, but also because I think the idea of a Morbius solo movie makes a lot more sense than a Venom solo movie. Morbius isn't as closely connected to Spider-Man as Venom is, so the idea of making a Morbius film that is separate from Spider-Man in every conceivable way just makes more sense to me on a basic level. But on the other hand, Jared Leto is playing Morbius. Hopefully we get more Academy Award winner Jared Leto and a lot less Suicide Squad method actor Jared Leto. It's twice I put down Suicide Squad in one video. And then on August 7th we get The Empty Man. I know I have to explain this one. The Empty Man is a 6-issue miniseries written by Cullen Bunn with art by Vanessa R. Del Rey. It was released by Boom Studios in 2014 and is about the FBI and CDC teaming up to investigate the Empty Man disease. It's been spreading across the country like wildfire, causing its victims to be violent, suicidal, and eventually catatonic. And along the way, cults start forming in reverence to this particular disease. Now, that does sound awesome, but the movie doesn't really sound anything like that. According to The Hollywood Reporter, the movie is going to be about an ex-cop still haunted by the violent deaths of his wife and son, trying to find a missing girl while dealing with this sinister presence that's around him. But that said, it is still nice to see a non-Marvel or DC comic book property become a movie, regardless of the changes that are made to the source material. I'll be keeping my eye on this one because it does sound very interesting, and I'll be sure to talk about it, if not on this channel, then definitely on my Twitter page. Because this is the type of movie that will get lost in the bigger picture. This is the type of film that will definitely slip through the cracks, and more people should really know about it. Hell, I didn't even know about this until I started writing the script for this episode. A movie I did know about, however, was The King's Man, coming out on September 18th. This was originally supposed to come out last year, sometime in December. I have thought that because we hadn't really heard anything that it might get delayed, and guess what? Exactly. Anyway, The King's Man is a prequel to the Kingsman series of films, which itself is based on the comic book series The Secret Service by Mark Millar and Dave Gibbons. Taking place during World War I, this movie is all about the origins of the secret organization, the Kingsmen. Ralph Fiennes and Harris Dickinson star as the spy protege duo who must try and stop Rasputin from killing millions of people around the world. Series mastermind Matthew Vaughn is back to write and direct this one, so we can expect some level of consistency with the previous two films. And this new time period may add a nice little twist to the franchise. And maybe this will actually get me to give a damn about the series. I was never really all that into the Kingsman as a whole, but this could be something. The World War I setting alone makes it a little bit more unique. I mean, it worked well for Wonder Woman, it should work well for the Kingsman. And who knows, maybe in the next Kingsman movie, they'll ride the lightning too. I doubt it, but then again, every movie should feature somebody ride the lightning at this point. Next up is Venom 2 on October 2nd. I think this movie is still filming. I don't think they've moved to post-production yet, so it might not make this year, but it's tentatively scheduled for October 2nd. Now, the first Venom was a movie, but by all accounts, the second Venom looks to be a very different movie. It's being directed by Andy Serkis this time, and it looks like there's going to be a real effort to try and make a darker, more R-rated film as opposed to the previous movie we got. Now, despite not knowing anything about Venom 2, I feel like it is going to be a better film than the first one. The first one really felt like it was trying to appease a boardroom rather than fans of the comic book character. But since the movie had come out and became a hit, and now that we have a new director on board, I feel like everybody, the people at Sony and the fans, know what a Venom movie should and shouldn't be. So hopefully it will learn from the first movie, take all that was right and fix all that was wrong, and actually make a good Venom experience. I'm sure we're still gonna get a weird-ass Tom Hardy performance, but we're all used to it by this point, so just go with it, man. Still don't know how this is gonna work without Tom Holland's Spider-Man, but what do I know? I'm a dumbass on Long Island. And real quick, on October 16th, Paramount Pictures is scheduled to release Snake Eyes, a sort of sequel slash spin-off slash reboot of the G.I. Joe series. Now, yes, G.I. Joe is based on an action figure line. But in addition to being a very popular action figure line and Saturday morning cartoon, G.I. Joe had one of the best, most popular comic book series of the 1980s. In fact, G.I. Joe 21, The Silent Interlude, is considered by many to be one of the most influential mainstream comic books of all time. There's no dialogue in it, it's all told with artwork. And series creator Larry Hama is still writing G.I. Joe to this day, only now at IDW. So I think it's important to include G.I. Joe on a list of comic book movies, even though it started life as an action figure line. Whether or not this movie will be any good, of course, remains to be seen. The other two G.I. Joe live action films have been fine, I guess. I own the first one on DVD. It's gotta count for something. And finally, we end the year with The Eternals on November 6th. The Eternals is the start of a brand new era for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, yes, Black Widow is the first film of Phase 4, but that's a character from a previous generation, a known character from a previous generation at that. The Eternals is something completely new and completely different. It's going to lean heavily into the cosmic side of things, a lot of big weird ass ideas and Jack Kirby oddness. It already has an epic cast with people like Salma Hayek, Kit Harington, Angelina Jolie, Kumail Nanjiani and his hot new body. And that is about the extent of my knowledge with regards to the Eternals. Seriously, I have no idea what this is gonna even remotely be about. I didn't grow up reading the Eternals at all. They didn't appear in any of the cartoons I used to watch. They don't even really have comic books put out with any sort of regularity. I think the last series of Eternals comics was in 2009. Now that doesn't mean I'm not interested in the movie. I am. It's just that for the first time in a very long time, I have no idea what to expect from a Marvel movie. By all accounts, this is gonna be a true cosmic odyssey spanning thousands of years and involve things like the origin of life and whatnot. It feels like a lot, but that's okay because I got this little book for Christmas, The Eternals by Neil Gaiman and John Romita Jr., and allegedly the movie is gonna take a lot of inspiration from this book. So I'll have plenty of time to read this before November and get caught up with what the hell the Eternals could possibly be. And then I could share my thoughts with all of you. And there you have it, friends. All of the comic book movies coming to your local theater in 2020. Again, though, some of these might get delayed until 2021 and beyond. I mean, Venom will probably get delayed. Eternals probably won't get delayed. Marvel's pretty good at sticking to their release date. Snake Eyes will definitely get delayed, I guarantee it. And maybe they'll delay New Mutants again, just for old time's sake. But which of these films are you most excited for? Are there any of these movies that you're going to avoid like the plague? Did I leave any out? Let me know down below or anywhere on the internet. And of course, don't forget that we have new videos every Tuesday and Wednesday, with Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern being Wulff Den Live. So subscribe to see all of that, like this video, and share it with a friend who needs to know all the comic book movies coming out this year to plan their year accordingly. Date nights don't come cheap, so you gotta pick the best movies to go to, or at least the most interesting ones. Thank you all for watching. I will see you next time.